Hey guys! Pop quiz! Who made the first feature-length animated film? You're wrong, it was not Disney. Usually when people think of animation, they think of cell animation, stop motion, or digital. But have you ever heard of silhouette animation? Those were the works of pioneering animator Lotte Reiniger. Lotte Reiniger was born in 1899 in Berlin, Charlottenburg, Germany. She became interested in the visual arts at an early age. She also had an admiration for cinema, the films of Georges Méliès and Paul Wegener in particular. After meeting Wegener, he invited Reiniger to make silhouettes for the intertitles to his films. Soon after, Reiniger began working for the Berlin Institute for Cultural Research, where she met film historian Karl Koch, whom she later married. In 1919, Reiniger made her first film for the Institute, called The Ornaments of a Loving Heart. During the 1920s, Reiniger was inspired by fairy tales while making her animated silhouette shorts, and in 1922, she made Cinderella. In her version, Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters are invited to the king's ball and refuse to let Cinderella attend. After praying under a magic tree, Cinderella's clothes are transformed into a beautiful gown. She goes to the ball. She and the prince fall in love. She leaves her shoe, and the prince searches through the town in pursuit of finding his true love. Cinderella opens with an intertitle. What Cinderella suffered from, the two sisters and her stepmother, how she grew into a fairy princess, here is seen, told by a pair of scissors on a screen. Then the film begins with the silhouette of a pair of hands and scissors. The hands cut out Cinderella's figure from a piece of paper, bringing life into the girl and other objects shaped into the scenery. According to reviewer Sarah Cronin, Reiniger's characters are depicted with an almost grotesque exaggeration that mirrors the over-the-top acting style of the silent films of that era. In 1923, because of inflation, one of Reiniger's admirers, Louis Hagen, converted his money into film stock, which he offered Reiniger so that she could make her first full-length feature film with one of her silhouettes. And that film was The Adventures of Prince Achmed. Production of Prince Achmed took 3 years from 1923 to 1926, and more than 250,000 silhouette frames were created. Based on the tale 1001 Arabian Nights, Lotte Reiniger's Prince Achmed tells the story of the title character, who is tricked into riding a flying horse which takes him to faraway lands. Each character is defined by their silhouette, such as Achmed's hawkish profile, Princess Dinarsade's meek head under her lavishly latticed veil, and Peri Banu's Botticellian nakedness. But it is not only their silhouettes that make them distinct, but their precise movements as well, such as the way a character walks or turns its head. There is one sequence in the film where we see Reiniger's true talent with silhouette animation. It is a battle between the African sorcerer and the fire witch, in which they display their strengths by morphing into different terrifying animals. In James Isaac's 1970 documentary, The Art of Lotte Reiniger, Reiniger demonstrates how she made her paper silhouettes. First, figures are designed. These eventually complete the final storyboard, which showed the different sequences that will later be further broken down into particular movements of the figures. Once she decided how the character would look, Reiniger would begin to cut out the figure. Reiniger would cut out the figure and its costume in individual sections. The number of separate pieces would depend on the amount of movement required of the figure. Small holes are pierced in significant parts. All the limbs and pieces of costumes are linked together with small wire hinges. Then Reiniger would use flat pieces of lead to flatten the figure to keep it from curling up under the heat of the camera lights. She then would further this by rolling out the whole figure flat. Its movements are checked, and then it would be ready to be placed on the animation table. On the table, the figure must be placed in the correct position, then a shot taken. The figure is moved slightly, then another shot is taken, and so on. After all the shots are finished, the final outcome is the figure moving lifelike across the screen. The ornate and delicate beauty of Lotte Reiniger's animation silhouettes are timeless. The stories are still relevant, and nothing is simpler than using paper and scissors to bring characters to life. The films of Lotte Reiniger must never be forgotten, but perhaps inspire future filmmakers to experiment in new ways to make beautiful animation. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and if you have a film related topic you want me to cover, please comment it down below. And I will see y'all later. Bye!